guys, Emily from Autofy here, getting ready to take you on a tour of Autofy. Whether this is the first time that you've seen Autofy or you've been around for a while and just need a refresher, you are in the right place. When you first log in to Autofy, you land on your dashboard. And so your dashboard is showing you your sync over the last couple of months. So I can see from here how many records I synced on each day and how many of those had errors. So it just gives me a really quick overview of how well my sync has been doing. If I have it running on a scheduler, then I can see the days that the sync is running versus the days that it is not running. Then down here at the bottom left, this is showing me my most recent error count. So if I just ran a sync and I had 7 records that errored out, this is what it's showing me right here. I can see in the middle, the synced records. This is for all time, the number of records that Autofy is synced. And then over here to the right, the last time that a sync was run. Now over here to the left, we have a few different things going on. You have your connections page, and your connections are where you can see your different connections, whether it's Salesforce, QuickBooks, Shopify, Amazon, Bill.com, whatever the case may be. And this is also where you can see whether or not you are connected to your 2 endpoints. Really easy to redo your connections. If you're not connected, you just click on the connection settings and it'll walk you through how to reconnect. I'm connected to both of mine, so I am good to go. Now right here under workflows, you can see that I have one particular workflow, my Salesforce to QuickBooks workflow. Depending on what subscription level you're on, you may have one workflow, you may have 5 different workflows. Just sort of depends. Now if I click on this overall workflows button here to the left, it will show me all of my active workflows, and it also gives me access to all of my inactive workflows. So ones that I used to use and I don't use anymore, I do have access to those workflows. I can enable, disable workflows from here. I can also edit the name of my workflow, so it makes a little more sense to me or anyone else that might be using Autofy. But for now, we're going to go ahead into our workflow. Now your workflow is a series of steps for your sync. My particular workflow, I have several different steps. I go all the way down to 14 steps. Some of my steps are turned on, some of my steps are turned off. Really easy to do from this view. And we'll take a look at my first step right here. So what it's telling me on my step is that I am syncing an account from Salesforce into QuickBooks as a customer. So that is my very first step of my workflow. My second step, I can see that I'm doing a bidirectional sync. So that I am then syncing QuickBooks customers to Salesforce accounts. Really simple. And to turn steps on and off, I can just click on the on button, and that's going to turn it off for me. You can see right here that it's turned off, and I can always turn it right back on. Over to the right, you'll see this little delete icon. If you decide that you no longer need this particular step in your sync, then you can delete it. I'm going to go ahead and leave mine on. And then on each step, you're going to see the configuration tab, the tasks tab, the mapper, and your preview. Now on your configuration tab, this is your default. It's telling you exactly what's going on and how your step is configured. So we can see that we're getting accounts that have been created or modified since this particular date and time. I don't have any filters associated to my step, but I can add them. And then I have an additional preference as to whether I'm going to just be updating records or not. And then what they're being inserted into QuickBooks as, which is a customer. So real straight and simple, getting accounts, and we're going to insert them as customers into QuickBooks. Now on the Tasks tab, it's showing us behind the scenes what's going on. We're selecting accounts from Salesforce when the last modified time is greater than this date and time right here. And we are pushing the information to QuickBooks. If we find an existing record in QuickBooks, we're going to update it with the information coming from Salesforce. If it isn't found in QuickBooks, then we are going to insert the new information into QuickBooks. So the Tasks tab just gives you a read-only view of exactly what's going on in this particular step. Now the Mapper, this is where you can see what information will be syncing over from your source to your destination. I have a lot of different fields mapped, such as the credit limit, the name of the account, billing address information, shipping address information. And from here, you can delete mappings if you need to. You can also edit mappings if you want to add additional fields. You have the option to do so. Now the preview, what this is going to do is it's going to look for any records from our source object, which in this case is Salesforce accounts, that meet our parameters, anything that's been modified since this particular date and time. And it's going to show me only those records. So this is everything that has been created or modified in Salesforce since the last time I ran a sync on this step. I do have the ability from here to actually sync records over, which we're not going to do, but you can select specific records and then hit the sync selected. Now, another thing that you have on each of your steps is this little magic wand, and that is our single record sync. This gives you the ability to sync over one record at a time. This is really good for when you are testing your information. You want to make sure that data is mapping over as you expect it to. You want to utilize the single record sync. And each step is different. It is going to tell you exactly what information you need in order to run your single record sync. Now, anytime that you make a change to one of your steps, maybe you turned it on, you turned it off, you decided you want to only update records instead of inserting records, you want to hit the Save button up here at the top of the page. That's going to save all of your changes. If you make an adjustment, it is not going to save that for you. The Settings button up here at the top left, this is where you can turn on your sync scheduler. Depending on the subscription level that you have, you will be able to run your sync on a scheduler all the way down to the 5-minute mark. For some of you, most of you will be at the 30-minute mark. So that means that you can set up Autofy, run your test, and then set up your sync scheduler to run. So you just leave it, forget about it, don't have to worry about it. It's very easy to enable this. You select the checkbox here next to enabled, and then you tell the system, hey, I want this to sync every 2 hours starting at 12 o'clock p.m. and I want it to go till 5 if it's every weekday or every day, meaning Sunday through Saturday. You do want to make sure that you click save here in order to save that change and for your scheduler to start kicking off as scheduled. Another thing that we recommend is that you get notified by email, especially if you're setting up your scheduler. If you have any errors during your sync, we do send out an email that'll give you a summary of the errors that occurred. So if some of your records did not sync, maybe you're trying to sync a transaction and it didn't have a line item. Well, if you set that scheduler, but you don't have any notification for any errors that might be happening, that record is just going to sync over and over and over again until that error has been cleared out or you fix whatever is causing that error. So we do recommend that you turn those on. And go ahead and hit save here. And this big green button up at the very top, that is your sync button. So this will run every single step that's turned on in a full sync. If you're new to Autofy, you don't want to hit this one right away. You want to make sure that you have used the single record sync option on every single step to confirm that all of your data is syncing over as you expect it to. Once you're ready and you know that your data is good, then of course we recommend that you turn on one step at a time and sync those before you run a full sync. Because once a sync is done, you can't undo it. 2 buttons over here, you have your help. This help button, this is going to take you into the Autofy articles section. We have questions, answers, we have great articles out here, we have additional videos. You can search for whatever you need. We have it organized based on where you are in your process. If you're just getting started, you want to know what best practices are. This is a great place for you to look anytime that you may have a question. We also have a section for any sort of alerts or notifications if some of your records do error out. And it opens in a new tab, so you don't have to worry about losing access to Autofy when you click on the Help button. And then over here to the right, you're going to see your company name. When you click on that, you can go to your account, which is going to list your users. You can add additional users from here. You can update your payment information. You can also purchase a subscription if you're on a trial and you haven't purchased a subscription yet. You can also view your connections, which is the same view as this connections view over here. And then, of course, you can sign out. Now, the very last thing I want to show you is the Status Center. The Status Center is a great tool because it's going to show you the status of all of your records that have synced. You can sort this by a specific status. So if I wanted to see everything that had errored out, I can filter to just those errors and I can see, okay, these are all the errors that I had. If I have more than one workflow, I can filter to just that workflow. I can do it based off of a specific date range, if it's today, yesterday, the last 7 days, the last 30 days. And you can also search for a record in the search box. Something else that you can do here as well is you can reprocess errored records or any records in the Status Center. So if I look at this invoice right here, it's going to tell me what the error was. It was unable to push this opportunity because it doesn't have a valid Salesforce ID. I can go fix that and then reprocess this. Anything else that maybe did not process properly, it errored out. When I click on the name of that, or really just anywhere on this line right here, it does tell me where in the process this record failed. And I can see right here there were no line items on the sales order, which is why it did not sync. As always, if you guys have questions, please feel free to reach us at support@getautofy.com. You can also send us a message down here in this message box, bottom right corner. And take a second, hit subscribe to the YouTube channel so that way you can be notified of any additional videos that we're going to be posting and to keep in touch.